Good morning, everyone. My name is Casey Carl. I have the privilege of being the city clerk for the city of Minneapolis, and we're excited to have you here with us this morning as we open a new early vote center here at the Urban League. It gives me great pleasure to introduce our mayor, Jacob Frey, who will make some comments. I'll follow the mayor with some statistical updates on our early vote turnout. So, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
The North Side makes voting look good so consistently, and good morning to you all. Thank you so much to our clerk, Casey Carl. It's really good to be here with you today. Now, we've already had two early vote locations that have been open since September, one over on East Hennepin and the other one over at the Hennepin County Government Center. And today we're adding an additional two. Today we're adding this location at the Urban League here, as well as an additional one in South Minneapolis over at Longfellow Park. Now, we're shattering records right now in terms of early voting. 126,000 people have already voted early. And so what I'm asking everyone throughout Minneapolis is to not let your foot off the gas. We want to shatter records here in Minneapolis, and you may or may not know, we are shattering records here in Minneapolis, and we've already had 126,000 people vote early. And so we're looking to not just shatter the record here in our city, but we want to be number one in the entire nation. Minneapolis has a very long and storied tradition of being the city that votes more than anywhere else in the country, and I want this year to be no exception. We want to be number one. And I got news for everyone in Minneapolis, though. It's not like we aren't going to have stiff competition. I was talking to Mayor Carter just the other day, and he was telling me that he thought he was going to be number one over there in St. Paul. And so, Minneapolis, let's make sure to get out there and vote. We're shattering records. Do not let your foot off the gas. This is the time to do it right and make sure that that foundational element of our democracy is used and you are heard. Now, to be sure, Minneapolis voters aren't the only ones crushing it right now. We have an extraordinary elections team headed up by our city clerk, Casey Carl, who has been working so hard, not just over the last weeks, but they work year-round. And then, of course, our elections lead, Grace Waklerowitz, who does such an incredible job, along with all of our election judges as well. And so the strength of our team, it starts at the top, but it is truly throughout. And so thank you so much, everyone, for being here. Thank you for your commitment to voting and to our future. This is really what our democracy is all about. And with that, I will turn it over to our exceptional clerk, Casey Carl.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So, as the mayor said, historic voting. To put some context around that, more than 58 million Americans have already cast ballots so far in this year's election, and that exceeds the total early vote from the 2016 presidential election, and we still have a full week of early voting to go. Here closer to home, Secretary of State Steve Simon said yesterday that more than 1 million Minnesotans have already cast early ballots. And as of last night in Minneapolis, we've received a total of 126,524 absentee ballots. The total number of absentee ballots that we've received this year alone, with one full week remaining before Election Day, represents more than 57% of the total votes cast in 2016. Let me say that another way. The 2016 presidential election had the highest level of voter participation on record in the city of Minneapolis, with a total number of 219,832 votes being cast, whether by absentee or at the polls on Election Day. This year's total number of early votes is already 57% of that record-setting total. And again, we have 1 week left to go before Election Day. That trajectory matches what other states and local jurisdictions have experienced, and it sets Minneapolis, and indeed the nation, up on a path to setting a new record for voter turnout and participation. At our last press briefing, which was on October 15th, I reported that the early vote we had achieved as of that day was roughly 35% of the total number of votes cast in 2016. Back then, we had received 83,000 completed ballots. This morning, just 13 days later, as I noted, we have more than 126,000. That's an increase of 62% in 13 days. So obviously, as the mayor said, we're very pleased with the level of participation locally. In order to further enhance access to the ballot, today we are opening, as the mayor said, 2 new early voting centers. One here at the Urban League and one at our Longfellow Recreation Center at 3435 36th Avenue South. That's in addition to the early vote center that's at our election headquarters at 980 East Hennepin Avenue. In addition, we have 13 ballot drop-off locations, one of them right across the street at URock. They're operational today through 3 p.m. on Election Day. So voters can either come to one of those 3 early vote centers, they can go to one of our 13 ballot drop-off sites, or they can vote at one of 95 polling places on Election Day. And in addition to those 95 polling places on Election Day, we will continue to operate all 13 of our ballot drop-offs on Election Day from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. You cannot take a mail ballot to a polling place, but you can, on Election Day, take your completed mail ballot to one of our 13 ballot drop-off locations up until 3 o'clock. So we've done everything we can to increase access to the ballot box, including extending our service hours. That includes hours from 9 to 4 this coming Saturday and from noon till 5 on Sunday, November 5th. We want to encourage all voters who have not yet taken advantage of this early voting opportunity to do so if they wish. That reduces the opportunity for long lines at the polls on Election Day and helps us keep all of our voters and our election workers safe. I want to thank everyone for coming out and being with us this morning. If there are questions, we're happy to take them at this point.